Good morning and welcome to another weekly update. Take two for me. I got halfway through recording this and realised my microphone was on mute. Funny days. I hope you're having a good week. Top of the show, trying to remember all the things I talked about when I was on mute a few minutes ago. Let's talk about Microsoft Build because that is coming up soon. It's coming up at the end of this month. That's really kind of 2 or 3 weeks away at this point, and registration is now open, so make sure you go and register. It is going to be online only again this year, so it's not in person. The good news is that this opens it up to many more people, and it is free, so you can get free access to all that great developer content. There isn't a session builder out yet, I don't think, so we can't kind of talk in detail about what's going to be talked about and what's going to be covered, but make sure you get registered. That way you'll get notified when it happens, get that time blocked out in your calendar, and so you've got some space for thinking and learning. And yeah, make sure you kind of show up to some of those build sessions happening at the end of this month. What does that mean for the kind of cadence of news? Often it means things slow down in the run-up to a big Microsoft event like that. So you will see that happening. But also kind of conversely, as Microsoft prepares to make those announcements, they'll often update documentation. So by keeping a really keen eye on documentation, sometimes you can pick up some kind of hints about what's coming. If that sounds interesting, make sure you stay subscribed to all the stuff I'm doing because I'll be doing that and I'll be kind of letting you know as it comes along. So those are the things that are coming up. There's still plenty of things to talk about this week. I've got 4 kind of key things I want to talk to you about. So let's get into it. The first of those, now this is kind of close to my heart, I guess, because it's a good crossover between Microsoft Teams and also broadcasting. And so this is the news announced at the NAB show, which I think is the National Association of Broadcasters. Sounds like a really fun show to go to. And this is an announcement Microsoft made there that they are announcing new broadcast integrations through what they're calling their broadcast development kit. And so Microsoft already does NDI streaming to make using Teams in broadcast easier. This is new integrations and new capabilities to really make it easier to use Microsoft Teams for professional grade broadcasting. Now, I think what we've seen in the past couple of years, obviously with sort of the pandemic and everyone being at home, we've seen a few things. I think we've seen the quality and setup that ordinary people have for voice and video is much better than it was, and that has led to much more use of kind of Teams and Skype as an acceptable mechanism for doing interviewing, even on sort of large state broadcasters and professional, if you like, professional solutions. And so this is Teams leaning into that and making the tools even better, making the integrations better, making it easier for broadcasters to kind of bring that stuff. Now, this is kind of interesting for the kind of professional broadcast capability, and it's interesting to see if you can notice those things showing up, next time you watch TV. But actually, the real benefit is for people like me who are not professional broadcasters, but will still be able to benefit from all of this kind of great integration, great capability, if you like, of this broadcast kit. Some of these screenshots look kind of interesting and fun. But yeah, that's the real benefit, I think, is that this stuff will roll out and then it'll be much more accessible to ordinary people who want to do NDI streaming to kind of bring in interviews in podcasts and shows or, whatever, make videos, or even like lean into some of the kind of more affordable professional level entry kit like Blackmagic hardware and stuff like that, or just RTMP stream out to YouTube. There's lots and lots of different options there. So I think this is only good for everybody because by solving some of those problems that professional broadcasters have, everybody benefits from this stuff as well. So kind of interesting to see that happening. And kind of just go read it, geek out on it, understand kind of what's happening, and then look out for it the next time you're watching TV. All right, it's the end of the month and the start of a new one, and that means it's time for the Microsoft Teams team for their monthly What's New blog post, and there's quite a lot in this month. Lots of different features, which I'm not really going to go through. I just do want to bring your attention to the Power Platform and Custom Development section, which is quite small this month. And I think we've kind of spoken about this top one, this messaging extension entry points for Microsoft for workflows in Teams. We have, I'm sure, already talked about a couple of weeks ago, so we won't go over that again. The only other interesting one I think to talk about is this second one, automation templates in the Teams App Store. So what is this? Well, the Teams App Store is where you go in the Teams client to download and find Teams apps. What Microsoft is saying is that alongside of that, they're also going to start showing and bringing to your attention Power Automate templates as an easy way to start using flows. Now, I guess you can think two ways about this. Like on the one side, it's the Teams App Store, so it is supposed to be for apps. Is it confusing maybe to start bringing in Power Automate templates? That's a kind of a one way of thinking about it. But I guess the other way of thinking about it is that actually the App Store is where users go to get stuff done and to find the solutions to the problems that they're having. And if that problem can be solved with a Power Automate template rather than an app, why wouldn't you show it to users there? Why wouldn't you surface it in search, for instance, and just bring it to users' attention? And for sure, this is Microsoft trying to increase the number of users creating Power Automate templates and creating Power Automate flows using automation workflows. So that's happening. It's coming, regardless of how you feel about it. It's coming anyway, so look out for that in the Teams App Store. And if you've got documentation, you might need to update it just to kind of be aware that, you know, now the Teams App Store is not just necessarily for apps. It may also include some other things as well. All right, let's talk about something else. Something else that always generates lots of discussion is tenant switching. And depending on how you feel about this, tenant switching is the thing you do in Microsoft Teams to move between different instances that you might have. If you are logged into different tenants in different places, then you'll know what this is. It's the thing on the right-hand side where you kind of drop down and choose the tenant and switch. And currently, that's a Teams thing. If you want to do that in Microsoft 365, there isn't really a way of doing it. And if you're using Microsoft 365 in the browser, you really have to be logged into one person at a time, one profile at a time in a browser. Like a browser session, if you try going outside of that, it gets a bit confusing. The workarounds right now are to do things like browser profiles or in private browsing. Well, that is all about to change because Microsoft are bringing out account switching for Microsoft 365 web apps. So it looks very similar to how it works in Teams, where you'll have the drop down of your name and then you'll see all the logged in instances that you have and you can seamlessly switch between them. Now, what Microsoft is saying is you will be able to switch between these different instances in the browser without needing to open a new browsing session. Why am I telling you this? Well, this is coming soon and it's kind of interesting anyway. The bit I took away from this is that if you look where this is coming, it's coming seemingly everywhere apart from Microsoft Teams. So it's coming to Office.com, it's coming to Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneDrive, SharePoint, the Admin Center. It really is everywhere but Teams. And that's interesting that Teams is not included in this list. Why do I think that is? My guess, and I don't have any insider knowledge over this, but my guess would be that if Microsoft have just written from scratch like a brand new tenant switching system that works on the web and they're rolling out to all of Microsoft 365, they will want that same tenant switching system to go into Microsoft Teams, but Teams has already got one at the moment. So I'm guessing there's probably a bit more work that needs to be done on the Teams side, but it will come with this new tenant switching system. That's my guess. Now, I could be wrong. The reason it's not in this list could be because Teams already has a tenant switching system and they don't need another one. But I think that might get confusing if you're switching around different tenants in some tabs, inside Microsoft 365, and then you go to Teams and you expect that same behavior to happen and it doesn't quite happen. Then I think that might be a bit confusing. So we'll have to see kind of how that pans out and whether or not the new tenant switching, if you like, will come to Teams, and whether it's any different, whether it's any better, whether it's any faster, we just don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see how it works, how it looks once it comes out in the Microsoft 365 apps, and then see how that relates to kind of how it's working in Teams. Okay. Final thing I do want to talk about is something that hit the Microsoft 365 roadmap recently, and is kind of interesting. And I don't have any other details about it other than what is in the roadmap. and that's this: frictionless app reinstall for users. So what is this? It means, well, according to what the description says, users will now be able to find the apps that they use regularly more prominently via app flyouts. I don't know what an app flyout is. And they'll be able to app mention their favorite bot to start using it seamlessly. The big thing I took away from this, though, is this second sentence. Users will not need to repeat installation of apps. Once you've installed it in one place, it will be ready anywhere. And this is really good. So a big point of confusion that I get with users is where they've installed an app in one place in a particular channel, and then they expect it to work everywhere because they've installed the app, right? That's the terminology that is used inside Microsoft Teams. You have installed the app. But actually what you've done is installed it just in that one very boxed place. If Microsoft can work to make it more frictionless, I guess, and just make it easier and more intuitive for users, that the intent of what they're trying to do is met by the actuality of what they are doing, then I think that's a really big thing, and that'll be a real help. I have no idea what an app flyout is. I'm excited to learn when it happens. This might be something we see something around at Build, maybe, because it's kind of for developers. There is, not a lot of information here. It's already got a GA date of May, which is kind of pretty aggressive. So because it only got added to the roadmap right at the end of April, so that might be a Build kind of thing. So that's worth watching out for when the sessions come out, to see if there's anything in the session catalog about this. But yeah, just if you're a Teams app developer, then this sounds like generally a good thing. It feels like it should increase engagement and make it easier for users to find the applications they've already installed and they just want to use. Being able to app mention a bot, which is great, really, really good, especially in like a new chat or a new team where you haven't actively installed that bot. That's really good, because otherwise users have to remember to install the app in every new team they make, and it's just a bit of a messy experience. So this is really nice to see, and I'm looking forward to getting more information about it. Hopefully it Build, but maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. All right, I think that's everything from me this week. Have a great week, whatever it is you're doing. Don't forget to stay subscribed. Look out for all the fun things that are happening in the next couple of weeks, and I will speak to you all again next time.